Oh, hey there.
Oh, hey there.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I am Kate.
And I am Bradley.
And this is History Buffoons.
Huzzah.
Yes.
Yes. Welcome to History Buffoons.
I have a surprise for you underneath the ottoman.
Underneath?
Yeah. The ottoman right in front of you.
Yeah. How far do I have to reach for that?
I mean, it's probably closer to me than it is to you. I'm kidding. It's probably right there.
Okay. Oh, dear. Ooh.
Put the microphone back.
I'm gonna. I didn't realize this was gonna have to work out. Uncle Nearest. Nice.
Uncle Nearest, yes.
Premium, what? 1856. It's almost as old as me.
So read it out. What is it?
Ooh, so it's a premium whiskey. That gold is like, it's shining, so it's hard to read in certain angles. This is the first expression honoring my great-great-grandfather, and I believe we have made him proud with our award-winning whiskey. V. E.D. Butler. Is that the guy's name, I assume?
That's the son, I believe.
Yeah. Fifth generation.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really 50% alcohol.
We're only having one.
Yeah, we have a backup.
Backup Modelo's
from the other episode. So, actually, I went out and bought more so she could try different flavors. Wow, 100 proof. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So show the camera. This is the
Uncle Nearest
whiskey. So that is our drink today.
Okay.
So now you get to open it because I don't know how.
All right. Well, I might have to edit this out because this might take me a minute. Oh dear.
I got my ice ready.
Okay. We'll just toss that there. There we go. All right. How are we doing this? Hold, please. How much do you want?
That's fine.
Okay. Ooh.
Smell that sucker.
Ooh, that smells good.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm excited to try this. I've never had this before.
I know.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. What's it smell like? Does it smell oaky?
Comes from south. A little bit of moss. Like there's trees nearby.
That's good.
Oh, that's smooth.
Oh, that's going down real warm.
Maybe two.
You think so?
Depends how much my ice melts.
Just leave some for Nathan.
Oh, I will. I have actually a little bottle. I'll pour some into there, and we'll finish off the rest. Ooh, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my first time trying it too.
Yeah, you never would guess it's 50%.
Wow, that's really good. So, can you guess what our story is today?
I'm going to go with, we're talking about rum today.
We're going to talk about Uncle Nearest.
I kind of put that together.
And I didn't even get it up on my screen yet.
Oh, man. So what I'm going to tell you is that's delicious.
Good.
While she pulls this up. That's really good.
Yeah, I really like him.
I wish I had more ice. Oh, wow. That's good.
Okay, so, yeah, I figured you like whiskey, and this story is actually somewhat, quote unquote, new information.
What do you mean by that, I guess?
So I'll explain it a little bit more later, but Uncle Nearest, who we're going to be speaking about, wasn't really discovered until recently. So, like,
he was around, kind of forgotten. No.
Mm-hmm.
People found out about him.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So, our story begins.
What year? 1853?
About 1820.
Oh, so I suppose that would make sense because this is not when he was born. This is...
What's that say?
Well, 1856, sorry.
56.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be in Lincoln County, Tennessee.
Yeah, and this is from Shelbyville, Tennessee. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And a reverend.
Dear. Yeah.
A reverend named Dan Call.
Dan Call.
Who runs a church, obviously.
Yeah.
And a whiskey still on the side.
That seems really, odd.
I mean, he's saving both spirits, right? Hi.
The Holy Spirit and
the Holy Spirit and the distilled spirits.
In the name of the Father, the Son and the distilled spirits. Maybe that's our title.
Father, Son, and the distilled spirits.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Oh, I'm going to have to write that one down. Father, Son, and the distilled
because then we won't have to, try... What was our... when we were doing our Wizard of Oz episode, I'm like, I said something... What the hell was it? We had to go search for it. So
okay, so
all right. Anyways,
so Reverend Call needed an expert to run his whiskey still.
Okay,
and he knew that there was an expert in town. He was an enslaved man.
Oh dear.
Named Nathan Green.
Nathan Green. Okay.
Everyone called him Nearest.
Is there a reason for that?
I did not find any, but I did find two different spellings. So, what we would say is nearer, nearest.
Yeah.
And then there's one spelled Nearist instead of EST.
Oh, nearest.
Or nearest. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a couple different variations.
Sure. I mean, that's rightly so because I don't know.
He's an enslaved man in the 1800s, in the early to late mid 1800s.
Right.
There's actually no known photo of Nearest.
Of this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, there obviously was photographs back then, but they weren't everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like today where everyone's got one in their pocket kind of thing.
Yeah.
This feels really good on my knee. I love ice.
So Nearest was born around 1820, likely into slavery.
Right.
And by the mid 1800s, he gained that reputation of being a highly skilled distiller.
Okay.
He had enslavers, a firm named Landis and Green, who would hire him out local farmers to make top-notch whiskey. So Dan Call was one of those who basically leased Nearest services.
Okay.
So Nearest is doing all these dangerous, dirty work distilling while somebody else is collecting the profits, essentially.
Well, I mean, that's typically what...
It was common.
It was common, and that's what slavery was, basically. Mm-hmm. They would have free labor to make them a lot of money.
Yep, and they would take the credit for something.
Which is unfortunate, but either way.
So distilling whiskey in the 19th century was hot, it was backbreaking, and it could also blow up in your face, literally.
Well, yeah, I mean, distills were very volatile, and they could, in a heartbeat, blow up. Yeah. I know a lot of, especially what was in the 1950s, when all, the moonshine distills and all that, basically how NASCAR got started because of that. Did you know that? Mm-mm. So, forgive me, I'll probably get the year wrong, but somewhere around the 1950s, give or take, the whole reason why NASCAR started is because basically these still people, still in moonshine, would have to soup up their cars to outrun the cops. So they started doing that, and that's why it's very big in the South. But that's how basically NASCAR started. That's awesome. People moonshining and getting away from cops. Yeah. So
wow, that's funny.
Anyways,
so Nearest wasn't just a laborer.
Yeah.
They called him a craftsman, essentially.
Did you come across how he got good at doing this?
No.
I mean, it just blows my mind that if he was born into slavery, and obviously they learned skills and whatever, I find it fascinating that he was able to develop this skill of being really good at distilling. Yeah. So, anyways, sorry.
I think he was just leased out to so many people that he somehow learned. Yeah.
No, I mean that's very probable.
But he specialized in a technique called sugar maple charcoal filtering.
Okay.
It's also known as the Lincoln County process.
Oh.
And we were in Lincoln County, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I will insert a couple pictures throughout here, throughout our story as well.
Okay.
So this meant filtering the raw whiskey through charcoal made from sugar maple wood before aging it,
right,
which mellowed the flavor.
Right.
Yes, so it made whiskey super smooth and essentially the 19th century version of like a Brita filter, if you will.
Well, yeah, I believe not just obviously in distilling, but I think charcoal is a naturally good filter for everything, like even water. Like,
yeah, I've got a charcoal filter for my kitty's water dish.
Yeah, exactly. So
I wrote down the Brita of bourbon.
The Brita of bourbon. Oh my word. We have a competing title. Highlight that one. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, golly geez. Okay, so Tennessee whiskey, even today, is defined by that extra charcoal filtering step.
Okay.
And some historians think that this technique might have been inspired by practices by enslaved people.
Gotcha.
Which they carried from West Africa.
Okay.
And they would use the charcoal to purify food and water.
Gotcha.
Reverend Dan Call recognized Near's skills, and folks in the area also kind of knew him, and they called him Uncle Nearest.
Okay.
And they knew Uncle Nearest made quality whiskey.
And they wanted Uncle Nearest's product.
Yeah, and Uncle was kind of a term of respect as well. So they kind of gave him some pretty high praise.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Nearest Green, enslaved, working on a farm distillery, making what would become Lincoln County's kind of finest whiskey. Enter a new character.
Oh, dear.
A kid named Jasper Newton Daniel.
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniel.
Yeah.
Jack Daniel.
All right. His name was Jasper?
Jasper Newton Daniel.
That's awesome. I had a cat named Jasper.
Yes, you did.
She was cute.
She was a female.
Yeah, she was.
In the 1850s, young Jack was a farm kid.
Okay.
He was one of 10 in the family.
Yeah.
But he was eventually orphaned. His mother had passed away right after his birth, and his father died of pneumonia.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. I think by this time he was maybe like between 6 and 8 years old when he was kind of orphaned.
A little old, but still pretty young.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So around 7 or 8 years old, little Jack ends up on Reverend Dan Call's farm as a chore boy.
Oh.
So Jack was kind of a small guy, but he was really inquisitive, and the whiskey still really fascinated him.
Yeah, I can imagine being, inquisitive kid. He just like, what are you doing? I mean, you've had Vesper ask you, what are you doing?
What are you doing, Kate?
What are you doing, Kate?
Where are you going, Kate?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that, Kate?
And then, where's Kate?
She got to fit her kitties?
Yep, pretty much.
So Jack pestered Reverend Call to teach him the whiskey trade.
Okay.
And at first, the preacher kind of hesitated. He's like 8-year-old running a still. I don't know.
Say he's pretty young, but I mean, times were different.
Yeah.
Obviously, like if Xavier came up and said, "Hey, man, can you show me how to still?" It'd be like, "Dude, get the fuck out of here, kid."
But Reverend was like, "Well, I got church on Sunday, so let's go ahead and do this."
Yeah, I mean, I could use the extra hands and help because I gotta go spread the word of God while you're spreading my spirits.
My distilled spirits.
Yeah.
So Reverend Call did decide to hand off that teaching to Nearest Green.
Sure, I mean, makes sense.
Yes. So Dan Call introduces them by saying, quote, "Uncle Nearest is the best whiskey maker that I know of. I want Jack to become the world's best whiskey distiller. You help me teach him," end quote.
All right. Makes sense.
So Nearest is now the mentor Green.
The mentee? Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he clearly did a good job because Jack Daniels, that's got to be one of the biggest whiskeys in the world today, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because obviously there's difference between whiskey and bourbon. All bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. It's just because of the process and all that stuff. But, I mean, it's very well recognized still today, so...
So Nearest showed Jack how to mash the grain, how to operate the still, and crucially how to do the special charcoal filtering process.
Sure, okay.
So through Nearest's guardianship, Jack learned the Lincoln County process.
All right.
Okay. This extra step would later differentiate Tennessee whiskey from plain bourbon.
Right.
Yes. I had a brain fart because I was like, bourbon. No, that's Kentucky, not Tennessee. And we're in Tennessee.
Yeah.
But bourbon, Kentucky bourbon.
Right.
But bourbon can be made anywhere.
I mean,
there's just a specific Kentucky bourbon, right?
I mean, there's a lot of distilleries in Kentucky that make bourbon. You know, Angel's Envy and oh my God, we passed a few when we were down there. Other ones that for some reason drawing a blank, maybe because I want another drink of this.
So this distilling process, filtering process, what makes Jack Daniel's whiskey taste like Jack Daniel's whiskey.
Okay.
And it came from Nearest Green.
Fucking A, right.
So the kid was a quick study.
Mm-hmm.
As he grew into his teens, Jack not only learned to make great whiskey, but he also learned to sell it.
Oh, sure.
By the time the Civil War was raging in the early 1860s, Jack was out there peddling the whiskey to soldiers who were stationed nearby.
Well, I mean, smart.
So he would sell his whiskey to any soldier, Union or Confederate.
Yeah, why discriminate there? It's $1 a buck. And
exactly.
He's just trying to keep the people happy and make money. So
yeah, I wrote down war is hell, but whiskey will take that edge off.
War got you down? Take the edge off. Jesus Christ.
So Jack and Nears had developed this awesome whiskey that people in town loved, the soldiers loved. They also developed like a genuine friendship with each other over those years of working.
So did he have a name for it already when he was selling it at this time, or don't you know?
I do have a picture of one of their very first jugs, and I don't remember the year that it was on.
Sure.
But this is still operating under Dan Call.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So, by all accounts, Nearest and Jack respected each other. They liked each other, and Jack Daniel later spoke openly about how much he owed to Nearest as his teacher and his mentor. In fact, one of Nearest's descendants put it, quote, "There would never have been Jack Daniels made without a green on the property," end quote.
I mean, they're not wrong. That's awesome. They gave him the props for it because clearly he was integral into Daniel learning his craft, so it makes sense. So
by the end of the Civil War, Jack Daniel has grown from a kid who knew nothing into a talented distiller and a businessman, all thanks to Near's mentorship.
Right.
And Nears by this time had gone from being Jack's teacher to effectively his like right hand man.
Okay.
On the whiskey operation, right? So big changes were coming. The war ended. Mm-hmm. Slavery was abolished. Yep. And we were about to kind of negotiate this whole new world and what it would look like. Right. So in 1865, after the war said, that's a wrap, Nearest Green was freed. No longer somebody's property. Yep. Finally able to be paid for his work. Which is great. Mm-hmm. And this probably was like just a huge deal for him. Yeah. But they ended up keeping him around. Well, why wouldn't they? Yeah, exactly. I mean, he was a great worker. He learned his stuff, and he's helping him out. I mean, it's just a little bit different role. Yeah. Meaning he gets paid for it now. So Reverend Dan Call's congregation wasn't exactly pleased that a preacher was kind of moonlighting as a whiskey maker. Can you blame him? I mean, it seems like contradictory to your lifestyle. Bit. Yeah. It just seems weird. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I can see how, especially back then, people being as religious as they were, especially down south like that. Is Tennessee considered part of the Bible Belt? I don't know what that whole section is, but close enough nonetheless. By association, anyway. Well, right, but either way, you're right there. Yeah. The coaster stuck. I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. I'm sorry. That's all right. Tennessee Bible Belt. I can understand why people would be like, choose God or choose whiskey, but you can't have both. I mean, but can't you? So Reverend Call decided to stick it out with God. And he sold his distillery to Jack Daniel.
Makes sense.
He was only in his mid-teens at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this is when I'll put in Jack Daniel's first jug.
Oh, sure.
That was about 1865, 1870, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Or that might have been how long they used it, that 5 years.
Oh, sure.
Jack was young. He took over the operation in 1866, and he registered the distillery as Jack Daniel Distillery.
Okay. So his last name was actually just Daniel, not Daniels?
Correct.
So he put an apostrophe. Is it like apostrophe S on the logo?
It is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I guess I never really paid attention to that.
It would be Bradley's Whiskey.
Right.
That's what it would be.
Right.
Jack Daniel's Whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I wrote down, what were you doing at 16?
I was in high school?
Yeah, I was driving my burgundy Dodge Spirit without a muffler because I ran over a Christmas tree at one point.
Spirit?
Yeah. Another Spirit. Look at that.
Ties together.
Would you look at that?
Well, fancy that.
So as soon as Jack was the boss, he hired Nearest Green as the first master distiller.
Okay.
The title wasn't just ceremonial. It meant Nearest was in charge of making the whiskey, overseeing production, and keeping the quality top notch.
Yep.
So this kind of appointment made Nearest Green the first African-American master distiller recorded in U.S. history.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So they did use the term head stiller in those days, but it's the same as what we would call master distiller now.
Yeah, okay. Just different title, same position.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Jack Daniel knew the value of Nearest Green and Nearest Green's family.
Oh, sure.
So he kind of helped start a family tradition. He hired several of Nearest's sons to work at this distillery almost immediately.
Nice.
So records show that at least 3 of Nearest's sons, George, Eli, and Louis or Eddie, they're not sure which one, joined the Jack Daniel distillery staff in those earlier years.
Nice.
And then over time, Jack's operation became a multi-generational family affair for the Green family.
Right.
So 7 straight generations of Nearest Green's descendants have worked for Jack Daniel in Lynchburg.
That's fucking wild.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to insert a picture here of Jack Daniel in a hat, and we think it's Nearest's son George next to him.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, there's no known photo of Nearest. Yeah. Okay. So this is a picture of us. We likely think it's his son George.
Okay, makes sense.
So, by all accounts, Jack Daniel treated Nearest and his sons well for the era. They were paid. They were all local. It's they didn't have to travel very far. And the Green family did quite well after the Civil War.
Sure.
So, Nearest and his wife Harriet also owned several sizable plots of land, something that really didn't happen.
Right, yeah. That's was very uncommon at the time.
So you can understand that the Jack Daniel's distillery probably made him
very wealthy.
In a sense, yeah.
For the time and everything, yeah.
Yes.
Especially for his position. I mean, obviously coming out of the war, he had nothing technically because everything was someone else's at the time. So, I mean, he did very well for himself. So
the distillery prospered, and the Green family never were equity holders in the company, but they were never left destitute. They built their lives around this distillery.
Yeah, they were taken care of because of work and everything makes sense.
So Jack became a famous name, a brand, and eventually a huge moneymaker.
Oh, yeah.
In 1956, Jack's heirs sold the distillery to the Brown Forman Corporation for about $20 million.
God, I mean, I know this, you said 50? 1950?
Excuse me, 1956.
Okay. 20 million, obviously, in 56 is a lot different than today.
190 million today.
See, that still seems low.
Oh, I don't know. That's a lot.
It's a lot of money, but just think if they sold it today, how much they would sell it for.
Yeah, probably.
A lot more than $200 million.
But it wasn't as famous.
Well, of course
back then.
Of course not.
Yeah. And of course, the money didn't go to Nearest's family.
Of course not.
They didn't have a stake in the company.
Nope.
But they did get decent wages, but not technically a cut of Jack's millions or whatever.
Well, it wasn't his company, so that's understandable.
And Jack Daniel's brand grew world famous. Nearest Green's name faded into the background.
Vanished, yeah.
Locals in Lynchburg knew the story.
Sure.
The story of the man who taught Jack, the descendants of Greens that kept on in the distillery business.
Yep.
But outside of town, nobody heard of Nearest Green.
Which is understandable.
So the official company line became Jack Daniel learned to make whiskey from Reverend Dan Call.
That's terrible.
So for a long time, that's how it stayed.
Okay. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, with how things were back then,
yeah,
it's really sad, but I get it. It sucks, but I get it.
So by the 2000s,
yes,
Jack Daniel's household name worldwide.
100%.
But no one knew about Nearest Green.
No.
It's not that the story was completely lost. There was actually a biography about Jack in 1967.
Okay.
By a writer named Ben Green, which is no relation to Nearest.
Obviously.
And he actually did mention Nearest and Jack's relationship. Okay. The book became a sort of like Bible in Lynchburg. Locals and Jack Daniel's insiders knew Uncle Nearest was part of the story.
Sure.
But the company's official history and the marketing, nothing.
Never said anything.
Nothing.
Yep.
Tour guys at the distillery didn't mention him.
Right.
It was like this open but not open secret that never made it into the history of Jack Daniel's distillery.
Right, yeah.
It took until 2016.
Oh, so geez, 9 years ago.
150 years after Jack Daniel opened his distillery.
Yeah.
For the wider world to finally catch on.
Okay.
In June 2016, the New York Times published an article that outed this, quote, hidden figure behind Jack Daniel's whiskey. The headline teased the distillery's hidden ingredient, help from a slave. So suddenly Nearest's story is everywhere. And there was a piece by Clay Risen from the New York Times that said, quote, hey, FYI, the iconic Jack Daniel learned distilling from an enslaved black man named Nearest Green, end quote. And it was big news to those who haven't heard it before. I just found out about it maybe 3 months ago.
Okay.
The company, Brown Forman, which owns Jack Daniel's, responded by saying they were just about to make Nearest's story public as part of their 150th anniversary.
Were they though?
We were so close. You beat us to it.
Oh, you jumped the gun. That's, I mean, you hope that they're telling the truth on that, but either way.
So according to them, it wasn't like a deliberate cover-up, just that the story wasn't well documented or had been overlooked, so to speak.
Right.
So record keeping was obviously spotty back in the 1800s, and Jack Daniel's marketing from the mid-1900s kind of glossed over it.
Right.
But the company did publicly acknowledge it in 2016 that Nearest Green's role, what his role was, and they promised to weave him into the Jack Daniel's history and the tours going forward.
I find it funny because they almost make it seem like they try to make it seem like it was scandalous, but
I know.
It's really not.
No, it's really not.
It's just is what it is, unfortunately. It wasn't a scandal like they cut him out of the fortune or whatever scenario you want to make up. It's just that's how it was kind of thing. So are you abandoning ship on that?
No, I'm still going to drink it.
Okay.
But I want a little bit more. Ice gets in my way.
Yeah.
And I can't drink a good drink with ice. I have to have a straw. And you don't do straws with whiskey.
That would be weird.
That would be weird. So I need just a good gulp.
That's
and it's going to be the Modelo
Piña.
Piña.
Perfect Spanish.
Yes. That's good too. Okay, so around this time, the story caught the attention of a woman named Fawn Weaver.
Okay.
She is an author and entrepreneur, and a fan of good storytelling, essentially. She heard about Nearest Green and Jack Daniel's plans to honor him. Mm-hmm. So she visited Lynchburg.
Okay.
Took the distillery tour. Actually, she took 3 different tours.
Oh, all right.
And guess what?
What?
Not a single mention of Nearest Green.
Maybe they hadn't got the new script yet.
Apparently not. But in true badass fashion, she took matters into her own hands.
Oh, dear.
She embarked on a 12-month research mission to uncover everything about Nearest Green's life.
Right.
She hired a team of more than 20 historians,
holy shit,
archivists, archaeologists, you name it. They scoured archives, dug through libraries and county records, interviewed Nearest descendants, and hunted down pretty much any scrap of information that they could.
Sure, makes sense.
In the end, Fawn gathered over 10,000 documents confirming and expanding on Nearest Green's story.
Oh, nice.
She filled in a lot of blanks. Okay, so Nearest was a nickname that he adopted after emancipation.
Oh, not prior to?
Not prior to.
Gotcha.
Sorry, I had written that down and I forgot about it.
Okay, no worries.
But she also solidified Nearest's place as the first ever black master distiller in America.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So her research gained national attention by 2017, and it gave Brown-Forman the push
to actually do something about
it? To finally embrace the story.
Sure.
By the August of 2017, Jack Daniel's parent company officially updated his website to list Nearest Green as the first master distiller.
Okay.
And a couple months later, they unveiled a new display about Nearest at the Jack Daniel's Visitor Center, and every tour also mentions him.
Oh, good.
So, yes, there's even a photograph in Jack Daniel's old office on that tour that has that George the son and Jack Daniels together.
So is the current distillery still like obviously a lot bigger, but is it where the original one was when he started it, or did it move?
So the Dan Call,
because that wasn't in Lynchburg.
No, that was in it was in Lincoln County. I don't remember.
Something like that. Yeah.
So that house is still there.
The house is still there.
Yes.
But that's not where Jack started.
That's where they started the distillery.
Under Dan Call, though.
Yes, yes.
And then he sold him the business, and then he moved it?
He must have. Yeah, I didn't research into
that's okay.
the tour or anything.
I just didn't think it was the same spot. That's all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see.
So that kind of brings us to the final part of our story.
Okay.
So, Nearest Green's legacy went from the display in someone else's distillery to his name on a whole new bottle.
So, is this actually from the Jack Daniel's company?
No.
This is from a descendant, right?
I will tell you.
Okay.
So, after Fawn Weaver, the author, had uncovered the full story of Nearest Green, she met with Nearest living descendants.
Yep.
And basically asked how would they like their patriarch to be honored.
Okay.
And they said, put his name on a bottle of whiskey.
Sure. I mean, that's what he was known for.
Mm-hmm. So in 2017, she had a team launch Uncle Nearest Premium Whiskey, a new Tennessee whiskey brand honoring Nearest Green.
So does the family get profits from this since they're using his name?
I don't know. I didn't look into that.
Because I feel like they should.
I would think so.
Because otherwise I feel like she's just using that name for her benefit.
So they released the first bottle in July 2017.
Okay. So, wow, it's been around for 8 years.
But still, that's not very long at all.
No, it's not. It's very new, and I've never heard of this until today. So.
Yep. So Fawn Weaver built Uncle Nearest Whiskey into a very serious business very, very fast.
Right.
In just a couple of years, Uncle Nearest became the fastest growing independent American whiskey brand in U.S. history.
Wow.
It was doubling sales quarter after quarter, won a ton of awards, and by 2019, they had sold tens of thousands of cases across the country.
So where did they get the recipe for this?
I don't know.
That wasn't a part of your research?
No.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm curious, is like, did they uncover an old recipe from Uncle Nearest or something like that? It's like, they obviously hire a new master distiller today, so like he came up with his own and just slapped a name on it.
You're going to have to read her book because she has a book written about him.
I might have to listen to a book. I don't know if I have time to read one.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so they built a new distillery in Shelbyville, Tennessee, which is about an hour from Lynchburg.
Okay.
In 2019, Fawn had raised around $40 million from investors to make this all happen. The nearest green distillery opened with this big mission to be the Disneyland of distilleries, as Fawn put it.
Oh, Jesus.
A museum, a tasting room, a massive bar, plans for a future music venue, all for Nearest.
Yep.
So one of the key people crafting his whiskey is Victoria Eddie Butler, which is Nearest Green's great-great-granddaughter.
Nice.
And she came on board as the master blender.
Okay.
She had retired from Jack Daniel's after 31 years there and then joined Uncle Nearest to carry on that legacy.
That's cool.
Yeah. So the family that once helped start Jack Daniel's is now running their own whiskey. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So Uncle Nearest Whiskey has racked up over 700 medals in spirit competitions.
Wow. And
was named Spirit Brand of the Year by Wine Enthusiast. And by 2022, the company's valuation, is that how you say it? Valuation?
I think so.
Surpassed $1 billion.
$1 billion with a B? Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So Jack Daniel's folks didn't say congrats and step aside. They actually did team up with Uncle Nearest.
Okay.
In 2020, the two companies announced the Nearest and Jack Advancement Initiative, pledging $5 million to help increase diversity in the whiskey industry.
Okay.
They funded a Nearest Green School of Distilling. And apprenticeships program to go into it.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. I should go take one of those. That'd be great.
Yes.
I wouldn't mind that at all. Wow, that's cool that they would start something like that. It's nice when they put stuff back out there with their profits instead of just being douchebags and pocketing it for their CEO.
Yeah. So Nearest is finally getting his due. His name is on an award-winning bottle. There's a foundation in his honor. There's a memorial park and plans for a museum. And Nearest is now everywhere. People are finally knowing who he is.
Awesome.
Yes. So every time you pour a little glass of whiskey,
think of Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest.
Because, I mean, he was a front runner in making it popular, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, it wouldn't be for him.
The coaster keeps sticking to my glass.
I know. It's a little... that's why I had rested mine on my knee, and my shorts are right next to it, and so my shorts are all wet. It's okay, though, because it feels nice. But yeah, I mean, Jack Daniel's, I mean, who knows if that would even be a thing if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Kind of situation. So makes sense that he's finally getting his recognition, his due.
So just real quick, Fawn Weaver wrote a book.
Yeah. Do you have the title of that book?
It's called Love and Whiskey.
Okay.
And the picture is of Jack Daniel's and the son, George.
George, yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I find a year that this one, 2024.
Oh, so literally last year.
Literally just came out. Nice. I do have the book on my Kindle because I was reading it in preparation for this.
Okay.
But it's a little dense.
Oh, really?
And it's very much like Fawn's discovery as well, and like her journey through this as well. So.
Okay.
But.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, she's on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, she's on a spiritual mission.
A spiritual mission? A distillery mission? Distillery spiritual mission.
The Father, the Son, and the distilled spirits.
Okay, so what'd you think of Uncle Nearest?
I was kind of disappointed that most of my ice melted because I wanted a smidge more, but I got more ice downstairs. Hello, smidge. No, that was really smooth. It has a good flavor to it.
Yeah.
I rather enjoyed it. So
good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I'm excited to have a little bit more.
Yeah.
A smidge more.
A smidge more.
Smidge more?
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, what do you think of it?
I like it. I'm not a huge straight whiskey drinker, no. Which is why it's taking me a little bit. Well, but it is super, super good for straight whiskey.
You typically don't just drink straight booze.
I don't.
Or on the rocks for that matter.
Yeah,
but that's understandable why it would be a little slower.
Yeah.
I do like to partake in a glass like this from time to time. I don't do it that often anymore.
Yeah.
But I do like having one. So that was a nice change of pace.
Good.
Because, I love beer, but sometimes you just need a cocktail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But this hibiscus one is fucking delicious, too.
That's awesome.
Just put some bourbon or whiskey in that. No?
Maybe not.
Why not?
Well,
I suppose. All right, buffoons. That's it for today's episode.
Buckle up because we've got another historical adventure waiting for you next time. Feeling hungry for more buffoonery? Or maybe you have a burning question or a wild historical theory for us to explore?
Hit us up on social media. We're History Buffoons Podcast on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also email us at historybuffoonspodcast@gmail.com. We are Bradley and Kate. Music by Corey Akers.
Follow us wherever you get your podcasts and turn those notifications on to stay in the loop.
Until next time, stay curious and don't forget to rate and review us.
Remember, the buffoonery never stops.